Arsenal tied to Nottingham Forest in one of the most boring games I've watched this season. It was such a boring game. There wasn't really much to it. There wasn't much creative spark to it. Odegaard went missing. Saka was putting in some good crosses, but he wasn't really being dangerous. Martinelli was being the OG Martinelli we know, not doing anything, not beating his man, not coming in. And it was such a boring game to watch, And you expect this from Sean Dyche coming in against one of the biggest teams. You expect this from a Nottingham Forest team that is battling for relegation. You expect this from this, right? But you don't expect this from the apparent biggest, best team in the world right now. The best team in England for sure. In the world, it's debatable. But you don't expect this from that Arsenal team who might just sweep the league this year. It was such a zero creativity game from both teams, but I expect that from Forest and Sean Dyche. You don't expect this from the best team in England. And look, I'm not really going to talk much about the game. I'm going to talk about the title race because this Premier League title race has to be one of the worst title races there's been, right? Because City keep dropping points and Arsenal keep dropping points. And Liverpool are so bad right now, and then United are coming up. Aston Villa drop points and lose. It's such an underwhelming title race. You could say Arsenal fans are probably going to be the ones saying, "Oh, but it's a good. Oh, now that we're going to win it, it's a bad league." And yes, it's a terrible title race. It's not the league itself, but the battle for first, the battle to be the Premier League champions is so bad right now. Every time there's a chance for Arsenal to go 9 points clear, 10 points clear, they fumble it. They fumble it, and if you're the best team in England, you would expect to take advantage of City dropping points. You would expect this type of game them to go all out. And yes, maybe I'm just overreacting because of how boring the game was. But over the course of the season, this happened so many times. City has gone 4 or 5 games without a win, playing terrible football, and Arsenal have not capitalized on it. And they're facing United next, so they might even drop some points themselves. City's facing Wolves, they might pick up some points, and maybe this whole conversation goes out the window, right? Title race picks up, but there's no guarantee that City will keep winning after the Wolves game. There's no guarantee, right? Because yes, they start Mark Gahey, but they're still gonna have Ake at left back. They're still gonna have Kuzanov at right center back or right back. They're still gonna have Mateus Nunes. They're still Stones is still out. Ruben Diaz is still out. Varela is out for the rest of the season. Ainari might come in, but he'll probably be injured again. And it's such an underwhelming title race. I can't really blame Arsenal much because they've won consistently over the course of the entire season so far. But City, on the other hand, they win 5 and then they fail to win 6. So at this point, do I expect a title race for the until May? No, I probably expect Arsenal to win it around late March to early to mid April is when I would expect Arsenal to distance themselves because I don't think this Mark Gahey signing is going to change much because that's one player out of a whole back line. And it's not even just the back line right now. Haaland isn't scoring. Foden is relying on his entire team to create for him. Turkey comes in and he plays 2 games good, 3 games bad. The Semenyo just signed, but do we really know how Semenyo is in these high pressure moments? Jeremy Doku started the season very well. He's been putting up good performances, but his end product is still not there. You have Rodri coming in. You have Nico Gonzalez coming in and playing 4 good matches, but then getting benched to an injured Rodri who is still not 100% fit. And that just loses Nico Gonzalez's confidence. His momentum gets dropped. Bernardo Silva is an old man trying to fit in with Reinders and try to fit in with his Arsenal midfield, which does not work. And it's just an underwhelming city. It's just an underwhelming city. And yes, I started off talking about Arsenal, but you need teams to battle for the league. You can't just be a one. Arsenal are doing their job most of the time, right? They could have gone 9 points clear against 17th place Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest who keep consistently losing. It's hard for them to even tie games. And you go out here and you play such horrible football against 17th place. The only player that I would say saved themselves a little bit this game were Declan Rice and the defense, right? Because Although going forward they were very bad defensively, Arsenal is always going to be a very good unit, very good defensively. Even if it's counterattacks, whether it's low block, Arsenal defensively are amazing. Declan Rice, I think, is the only player that really saves himself today when it comes from midfield forward. Zubi Mendy off game. He's had a lot of off games this season. Odegaard and Eze are two players that I think have been who are on the cusp of being great players, but it's just so hard for them to take the next step. Odegaard, when he came in, those first couple of games, even I think it was against Newcastle that he came back, he was outstanding, right? But then you look at his numbers, he's played what 10 games now, and he only has like 2, 3 assists from your creative player. He is your 10. He is your creative player. Eze hasn't done anything since he scored the hat trick against Tottenham, and it's just the rest of the league is very good right now. Like I said, the mid table teams are very good right now. Even from Manchester United to Newcastle to Sunderland to even Bournemouth. Now that they beat Tottenham, they're playing all right. You have Brentford, who's right on the cusp of being a settled top 10 team. It's just an underwhelming title race from City. And then even from Aston Villa, Aston Villa had the chance to go 3 points right next to Arsenal, and they lose to Everton, an Everton team that don't have Iliman and Guy, an Everton team who have probably the worst striker partnership in the league right now with Beto, and it's just so one's giving Arsenal competition this season. It's like I said, they'll probably win it by the end of March. They'll probably be points ahead by like mid-April. It is just an underwhelming title race. Arsenal fans might agree, but most of them, I think, they're going to be like, "Oh, now that we're going to win it, the league's bad." But it's just the truth. Liverpool are bad. City are inconsistent. Chelsea have the youngest team in the whole league. I'm pretty sure they probably have one of the youngest managers in the whole table right now. Aston Villa are inconsistent, and even the Aston Villa game was pretty bad itself. So the football levels have dropped, in my opinion. When it comes to actually creating plays, creating chances, the best team this weekend was Manchester United, and they're pretty low behind. I think they're on like 38 points right now. And it's just an underwhelming title race. Arsenal tied, City lost, Aston Villa lost. Does it speak to the strengths of the rest of the teams? Maybe. But then you watch the game. You could look at the scores and say that, right? You could say that the other teams have improved. And you could say this. But when you actually watch the games, when you watch the football that these teams play, it's horrendous. Aston Villa was created a couple chances, but it was chances because Everton's defense was weak. That's why they created chances. Aston Villa creating plays hasn't been at its best. And even in that game, that 10 game run, it wasn't the best of football. Most of it was counterattacking, slow, like mistakes, like some bangers. They were scoring a lot of bangers. But when it comes to the actual football aspect of it, it was so bad. Arsenal, there's games where they have such good games. There's games where they have creative football, and that's when Saka's on it. That's when Odegaard is on it. That's when Rice is on it. But it's usually their fullbacks that are very intense. But then there's games like the Nottingham Forest one where it's just boring, boring, boring. But none of these, I could say all this, but Tottenham, on the other hand, is just hilarious to watch. But they're the most boring team in the league. Have the levels dropped? I think so. I think the football levels have dropped. But Arsenal are still 7 points clear. They're facing United on the weekend. City are facing Wolves. So let's see how this weekend looks, because the way United looked this weekend is going to be a tough game for Arsenal, especially because Arsenal are going to have the ball. Arsenal have to go for it. Because I believe Arsenal are playing at home, so they have to go for it. They have to be on the ball. They have to be they have to be the ones pressing. They have to be the ones in possession. And United on the counter attack right now with Bruno on form, with Mbuemo on form, Cunha and Dorgu on form. The counter attacks are going to be special in that game. So let's see what happens. Let's see how the title race goes. If next week the title race might be 3 points, 4 point City from Arsenal, and maybe 3 points Aston Villa from those two. So let's see how it goes. Let's get a title race in there. Come on.